All right, and we are live. This is the 5th episode of Giant Size Spectacular. Let's go.
Hello, everybody.
Hey,
How's everybody doing? Who says, us? What are we? What are we? Gen X? Gen Xers? What are we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't care about nothing.
yeah, exactly.
But now we have kids, so we have to care.
Exactly.
I'm on some kind of cusp. Apparently, it depends what chart you look at. But I'm a Gen X millennial, Zennial.
Oh.
You wouldn't be a millennial, would you?
Couldn't be a millennial.
Yeah. 1981. It's this weird, like, sort of.
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware. Okay, but now I'm deep in Gen X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
There's no doubt.
I never understood the differences until I got old enough to be definitely different than a newer generation. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I've like gotten stumped with people where I'll try talking to them about something like the Twilight Zone. I'm like, hey, what's your favorite Twilight Zone episode? And it's like, Twilight Zone, what's that? And I'm like,
Yeah, you're like
it was old for me, and yeah, I've been noticing like little things like that starting to happen. Gilligan's Island. Come on, just
Yeah. I don't think you're a millennial, man.
yeah. You're a very, very precocious millennial.
Yeah.
You are a Gen Xer at heart, if nothing else.
So that's always what I figured, but like people get very, very weird about those definitions.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. It's really funny how that works.
Man, but it's good to see you guys.
You guys too. Sorry, I wasn't here last week.
Well, the vid will do that, and it was your daughter, right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, that's just not fun.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's not a good time.
Glad to be here now. So glad.
Yeah. So we want to kick it off with some adventures, the adventures of Johnny and Dave as they made their way through Long Beach Comic-Con. You guys got to talk to us. Tell us about the show.
Well, it was interesting because John had told me, I think, was it the Saturday or Sunday before that it was happening.
Yeah.
And then my immediate response was, are we going? And John's like, okay. And I think by Monday, because we were trying to figure out tickets, and then I was like, we'll just buy tickets on the spot. And then I remembered that, we're both professionals. And
you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I was like, hold on.
There.
I was like, we're pros. So I went on the site. I asked John about the pro status, and John was like, he was like, I don't know. Well, we'll check it out. And by the time I checked it out, I immediately sent him my ticket that I'm a pro and I got in free. So then John did his. So bang, we get in free. But we thought, we're gonna have to show all kinds of ticket stubs and whatnot, but it wasn't
some sort of credential, right?
It wasn't even that serious. But like, then we got there, and we got there a little. We got there when it opened, and we've actually tabled there. John has tabled there, and then he invited me to table years and years and years ago. So we were just walking around as a couple guys this time, and I got to say, it was really fun. It was really great. It was
nice.
It was a lot of fun. It was really inspirational as well, because I've been not only drawing my work stuff, but I've been drawing all week because of the show, pretty much, because I met a couple guys I bought 2 sketchbooks, and these guys were really inspirational. But yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, it was really chill, which it took us a little bit to like, it took me a minute to figure it out, but it was probably half the size. The convention floor was about half the size of what it was 2 or 3 years ago, the last time we were there, 4 years ago. And so that was a little bit of a shock, because I'm used to it like being pretty expansive, and they used to do things like get like wrestling exhibitions, and they would get other kinds of like pretty grand size attractions, and this time it was scaled back, and so getting into it definitely felt a lot more manageable.
Okay.
And I was like, we can get through this in a day. And there have been conventions where I go and I'm like 2 or 3 hours in, and I'm kind of done.
Yeah.
And I haven't even gotten through half the show, but my brain has like hit max capacity. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't even want to see really, anything. So this felt like a good way to like get back into the post quarantine, pandemic era of being like a small show,
Yeah. That is super cool. Did you pick anything up while you were there, Johnny?
I picked up a little less. I think if I had gone back a second day, I would have picked up more. But I ended up only going the first day, and so I picked up a sketchbook and a few stickers because I had to buy something for my 9-year-old. So that was stickers and a Pokemon blind box. And so I'll show the sketchbook I picked up is by there we go. He's this is
That looks cool.
Scott Flanders. He's a concept artist, and his stuff was really nice. He's got some really nice things.
Oh, sure.
Nice.
Let's see. I love character studies and things like that. So
That's awesome.
yeah, he gotta keep moving.
When you want to go left, go right.
I'm gonna get this out, actually. So
it's treated like a green machine. Does anybody know? Do you guys remember the green machine?
I don't.
Yeah, I know the green machine.
Yeah, I gotta see if I can pull up a picture of the old school green machine.
Is it the big wheel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the green. I know the green. I didn't have a green machine, but my cousins did, and it was my favorite thing to play with when I went over to their house.
Dude, I had a green machine, and the best thing is like you could spin out on it.
Yes.
You just like. Sorry, man. I just hijacked the show for much of the show.
It's a good analogy. It's exactly how I felt. And he was a concept artist, worked for some gaming company, and so he was a really nice guy, and his work was beautiful. So it's always nice to support somebody and get a chance to talk to somebody who's got some similar interests and can talk shop. So that was the one book purchase. I ended up not going back for any comics. I really should have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Long Beach was the last con that I had been to before COVID shut everything down.
Oh, really?
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
That was I think when you guys had that table there.
Yeah,
that's right. That was actually, it's funny because that was 5 years ago. Because
that was 5 years ago. Holy sh!
Because my kid wasn't even born yet. He was my girlfriend. She was pregnant, so she showed up. She showed up pregnant. It was pretty funny. I think I told the story when she saw that there was a wrestler there. She got really excited and had to run over and get pictures with the wrestler.
So that's when she was stoked.
You know what? I'm gonna have to send that picture for another show so you guys can see the picture because she's there with the wrestler. She's so happy. Yeah, yeah. But the first thing I ended up picking up was the heavy metal T-shirt.
Nice.
For the 40th. Hold on. On the back they have the 40th anniversary. Is it 44th? Can you see it?
No. 45th.
45th anniversary of heavy metal. So we went over to heavy metal and we talked to them. They were super nice, and I ended up buying the shirt, and I don't have it in my stack, but I bought a book by Bob Fingerman. They had a Bob Fingerman book. I'm a huge fan of Bob Fingerman, so I bought that, and then I also bought the same book by Scott Flanders.
Scott Flanders, yeah.
Scott Flanders. Very nice guy.
He's doing pretty well then.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Beautiful work.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, beautiful work. I mean, this stuff is absolutely beautiful. So I picked up his book. It was very inspirational because I ended up sketching all week. And then I picked up this other book by this kid who's a storyboard guy. And what's his name in this? Miguel, I might be saying it wrong, Balthazar. And he's a storyboard guy. And he actually was really resourceful guy. He had beautiful, beautiful sketches.
Nice.
That, you know, and he had his iPad running, and he had like these animatics that he'd done. Beautiful stuff. And we spoke to him for a while, and those guys are really inspirational. I came back the next day, and I picked this up from the guy he was tabling with, a guy named Pete Nguyen. I have not finished reading this yet, but like it's really cool because it's just like he's, you know, it's what I'm getting from it is I'm reading a comic and I don't know where it's going. What's better than that, right?
Yeah.
So this,
enjoying the ride.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the ride. So I picked this up, and my one regret is I didn't pick up more indie stuff. And the next time I go, I want to pick up more. I want to try to stop by more tables and try to pick up 1 or 2 books. You know, so that's the goal next time. So we definitely want to get back into the spirit and you know, picking up stuff. But this is other stacks of stuff that.
Well, let's see what you got there.
So
were those books that you picked up there?
Yeah.
What do you have there?
So I went to the dollar bin, and I probably
Area 88.
Yeah. So I probably have these, but I picked them up.
Yeah.
And then I found a Dagger Kamui. I was like, oh yeah, I got to pick that up. Nice. And then I remember, you got to remember when this first came out, and we were like,
oh, dude,
yeah. Right? And this guy he was a 2 for $1 box. I think I have his card here for his store. I guess his store's called McFly's Comics. They're down in Huntington Beach. But he had a 2 for $1 box, and I bought this because I was like, Jerry Conway, Dan Jurgens, I'm there. Is a #1. I have no idea what it is. So I picked that up. Yeah. I remember this book from when I was in junior high, and I love the art. It's Mai the Psychic Girl. So I picked that up. And then
I don't even really know that property.
Really, Mai the Psychic, yeah, they were it was just this girl with psychic powers, and she's cute, and you know, beautiful art. Beautiful.
That artwork reminds me more of like a kind of Crying Freeman style artwork, or
I believe this is the same artist.
There you go. Okay.
And I picked up a couple issues of Nexus because I like Steve Root art, so I picked this up.
Nice.
The interesting thing about this issue here is it's drawn by Mike Mignola.
What?
Yeah. So I was like, I may have this one, but I was like, well, I couldn't leave it there.
Yeah.
So I picked it up. We cannot not do a show and not mention John Byrne.
That's right.
So
booyah.
Yeah, so I picked up a couple John Byrne. I guess I don't even know what.
I don't even know this property, dude.
I don't even know what these are.
I don't know either of those properties. What are they? Trio and what?
Triple X.
Triple Helix. Triple Helix.
Yeah, I have no idea what this is. So I picked it up because I was like, well, you know, it's Byrne. You know, why not? So I picked that up, and it was funny because I was talking to my friend driving to the show. Me and my friend I was on the phone with my friend Chuck, and we were talking about Marvel Universe. The Marvel Universe had that book come out. No, Marvel had the book Marvel Universe where they profiled all the characters.
I love that book.
Yeah, and Byrne did those crazy covers.
Yeah,
yeah,
like the character, like the heroes are running across.
Yeah, and it all connects. And then DC had to come out with their own version, and they came out with the Who's Who.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And I always liked the Who's Who. Because, you know, Who's Who had I liked the way Who's Who did their the way they did their layout, the characters where they have an illustration and they had the smaller illustrations.
Yeah.
And this is awesome because that's a Jaime Hernandez from Love and Rockets.
Dude.
What's even better for me is there's a Dave Stevens right there.
That is fire.
So Dave Stevens draws a Phantom Lady, and then I picked up, because I love Jordy Burnett, I picked up a Torpedo that I didn't have.
Nice.
You know, and the last thing I picked up that I'll show, this is actually the first book I bought, was I'm a huge fan of Michael Kaluta, so I picked up, and then you got Denny O'Neil wrote this, and Denny O'Neil just passed, and Russ Heath inks it, so you know, and I love pulp stories, so I was there. So that show was actually a lot of fun. It was I really want to go to another one. So me and John are already planning how we're going to go about doing shows, but then we're also planning, we have to start tabling again, because I haven't stopped drawing all week. I started I'll show you some sketches.
Show us what you've been.
I started working on you know, sometimes I'll just show. There's a lot of stuff in here, but sometimes if I'm not drawing bunnies, sometimes I'm drawing bunnies.
Nice. Bouncing bunnies there too.
Yeah, but I like drawing the Playboy bunnies, but these are old. I just love that whole thing. But I came back and I just wanted to draw these two guys fighting. This is the first night I got back after the show.
Oh, sweet. And
I drew these two guys. And I just let the pencil go. I just said, you know what? I don't know where it's going to start, where it's going to end. And I just drew that guy. Then I am always, because I love this dude. I'm always drawing Mazinger because I love Mazinger. And that led to this.
Dude.
So I'm
Shogun.
So I'm working on this now. And I'm really inspired. These guys I just spoke of, they really inspired me. And I want to start tabling, but I want to start producing my own prints. So that will be something I would like to have as a big print to sell at the show. So that was my experience at the show, everyone. I thought it was a great show. I think Long Beach it's a great venue. It's a lot of fun if you just want to go to a little show, and I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah. That is super awesome. I mean, I haven't been to Long Beach for a while.
Yeah.
But that's a show when I come back out to Cali that I definitely want to make sure that I hit. Man, but yeah, this is like one of the John Byrne.
Yeah.
You know, and you got like Sasquatch back there and Scarlet Witch and She-Hulk and come on,
they're
man.
all, you know, because the cover's all connected. So you could actually, if you were that guy and you had all of them, you could connect them all along your wall, and a lot of guys did that. You know?
Was that the one that they did they did that every year where they would sort of highlight new characters?
No, it was based. Go ahead.
I had something like that, but it was a different cover.
Originally, they did it monthly. So they did the first series was literally monthly, and they did it almost alphabetically. So I mean, it was alphabetically, but maybe it would be A and B and C. I don't know. I'd have to go look to see how many they did. And then they did something like this, which was like the deluxe editions. And those are the ones, the deluxe editions are the ones that, Byrne, just did these amazing covers. But it's like, if you look, they were in, this one is kind of in the S's. You got Sandman, She-Hulk, Shadowcat, Sasquatch, Scarlet Witch. So it was always, kind of in that part of the alphabet.
Okay. Yeah, because I think I remember having one that it must have been S through something, because there was it started with, I think, Solo, and it had like a 2-page spread of TechNet. Do you remember that team? That villain team, TechNet? They were so bizarre.
Man, I'm trying to remember them. TechNet.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I don't remember TechNet. Who are the antagonists to? Do you remember who?
You know what? Let me pull it up. Yeah, this is it. So it's these guys.
Oh, I remember that.
Excalibur.
They were Excalibur.
Excalibur, because that was Alan Davis.
Yeah, great
That's
art.
awesome.
That's
Dude.
right. Remember that little frog guy, Thug or whatever? I thought that guy was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, so they were featured, I think, in one of those.
Were they?
Now I got to find it. I remember having some issue of that. That thing was the coolest.
Yeah. Man, I mean, just you bring it up like Alan Davis artwork. That makes me hungry for some Alan Davis.
You know,
I have a lot of the old Excalibur.
Really,
Yeah, that
was some good stuff.
But he also did art on because I did both DC and Marvel.
Uh-huh.
He did a great run of Detective Comics.
Yeah, there's an
He
issue
was-
he did.
Ooh.
There's an issue he drew with Scarecrow that's really good.
Oh. that was so good. That was so when Batman the Animated Series came out, and like just like you, Peter, I always like to write.
Uh-huh.
Basically, one of the episodes I wrote was basically an adaptation of that comic.
Really,
It was such a good issue.
Yeah, it's a really great issue. I think it's a Celeste sighting.
Celeste, we see you. Hey.
so what was it called again? Tell me the name of that series.
It was Detective Comics.
The one that you just showed, the Marvels.
Marvel Universe.
Marvel.
Yeah, the Marvel Universe.
Marvel Universe. There was the original Marvel Universe was just dubbed Marvel Universe, and then they did like a subsequent like deluxe. Deluxe edition, and then they did like a something like, it wasn't called like the Dead Edition, but it was like, then they did like an edition with like all the dead characters, so like they had like Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, and all these different characters, that had died, I mean, those I used to love those things. I mean, they're basically comic book encyclopedias, man.
That was stuff. That's why
they had everybody's
the cards, like the Marvel trading cards that they would do.
Yeah.
I was all about those for that very reason, that like it was just like little encyclopedias, or like just
that was the coolest thing when I remember getting my first GI Joes, and on the back they had a file card.
Yes.
And they had the power levels. And then, as I said, I was into GI Joe for a while, but then when I got into Transformers, it was over.
Yeah.
GI Joe was, as much as I still love GI Joe, Transformers was like next level. And the same thing, Transformers, you flip over the box, and there was the file information, and then they had all their power levels, who was stronger than who, and man, that stuff was so cool because it really personalized all of it,
Yeah. And the other cool thing, like on the show, they did. Oh man, we have totally neglected. Hey, what's up, Hex? What's up, Mel?
Hey everybody. Sorry, we've been chatting so much. Need to have you guys on as guests.
Wolverine's here. What's up? What's up, Wolverine?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have you guys on to,
I know we need to have these guys on. So Wolverine was dropping some knowledge and we missed it. It says we're in a later update. Okay, so they were in a later update to the Marvel Universe handbook. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Book of the Dead. I love those. I'll tell you what else I loved about Transformers. Actually, about the cartoon. Was at the end of some of the episodes, they would have, like, my favorite one was on Devastator. Like, they would be like, the Constructicons.
That was
I remember that.
Before Devastator. And I was like, oh,
I remember that. That was great. It was, what was really funny? I don't know if I told you this. I was on a storyboard job maybe 3 years ago, and I was working with a guy, and unfortunately I can't remember his name because we didn't get the same information. We didn't share information afterwards. what he told me, he worked on cartoons in the '80s, and he told me he was on the first generation Transformers as storyboard guy, and I leaped out of I went through the ceiling. I freaked out. Oh my god, that was like the coolest show, man. I mean, yeah, that was really cool. Everything was cool about that, you know.
That show was dope.
Yeah. So we're this year, next year, because Quentin's birthday is 2 days after Christmas, but next year in January when we have his party, it's going to be the big Transformers party. So if you're in town, John, please,
yes, and yes. So Wolverine is dropping some knowledge here. There was the original run, then the deluxe edition. Yep, Book of the Dead.
Yeah.
Then they released some lesser quality update issues. Then they went to those binder page editions with the loose page. I don't remember the binder page editions with the loose pages.
The binder page ones, was that for DC? Because I remember I had like some DC binder pages that I had put that, like I'd actually taken out and put into a binder. Like
really?
Yeah. God,
how did I miss? I totally missed the binder pages one.
It sounded familiar, but
that was like
I don't think I ever had one.
Oh shit. Yeah, huh. I'll have to remember some of the characters that were in it.
Okay.
Like go find it from there. But yeah, again, that was another thing where it wasn't a book, you know, or it wasn't cards, but it was just like, you know, that's how I learned about the characters and like what was going on, just by like these sort of encyclopedia articles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, that was.
Yeah, no, they if we're talking about the DC ones, yeah, they were some. Oh, yeah.
So did both Marvel and DC have these? Was that?
I'm sure one followed the other.
Yeah. Just kind of like the who's who for DC. You're saying, you know, came after the, Marvel Universe. I get it.
What I loved about those Marvel Universe were that they'd also go through the history. So you'd have like the Black Knight and Black Knight 2 and Black Knight 3. And so you have like kind of the history, and they would tell the story of each one of them. And so for me, it was like starting in the 80s, I was like, I had my Black Knight and I loved that guy. But then I'm like, well, who's this other guy? And he looked completely different. And I wanted to know, so that I was able to, you were able to go, oh, but now I want to see, because at the time I had no idea what, hunting out back issues in the 80s, but
yeah, you're like, oh, this is like way early in the Avengers run. You're like, who is this guy?
And and they would, I think they would even, kind of like point out their first appearance, so you could like find out when, what comic they first appear in. They had a great set of facts to go along with all that great art.
Yeah.
This is the who's who that I had, because it's got a list of the characters: Adam Strange, Bolt, Captain Atom, Dolphin, Dove, Fluoro, Gangbuster. Like real, not the greatest of the DC universe, but that's what it was. And you can see the
nice
page on the side. Oh, I'd love to get a hold of that one. The Royal Flush Gang, Power Girl.
Yeah.
This was 91. Who's Who number 6, January 1991. Wow, that was
nice.
That's
nice.
Okay, that's 30 some odd years old.
$1.10 a month for comics. Yeah, exactly. That was a huge thing. I mean, you got such a breadth of stuff.
I think that's probably how I got into them too, or probably why I bought it, because it was the same deal. Like I wanted as many like characters as possible in like one thing, or as much about as many as I could, because there's nothing that would burn me more than like when you would buy a book and you would look at the cover and you would see like your favorite characters on there, or, you'd get a glimpse of like, oh, Nightcrawler must be in this because he's like off the corner or something, and then you go through the whole book and like
it really I think part of what I love about it is it really feels like that scene in Ed Wood. What do you mean script? I don't have a script. I don't have an actor. I got a poster.
Yeah.
And they just make the poster, and then they're like, all right, just do it around this.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Wow.
and this is I'm showing this just because of what we said earlier. The Green Machine.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate. I did have a Green Machine, and you know, I did some really awesome 180s, and I ate it a lot in the Green Machine. You know, because with the
10 years old,
sticks,
we know how to ride.
yeah. Well, the whole point is like, you know, you get to spin out. You know, and back in the day, no one wore helmets, so I just got the brain damage from, you know.
It was steering from behind those.
Yeah, exactly.
The back wheels that are doing all the steering, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's how you operate any vehicle.
Exactly. You're like, what the heck? It made perfect sense to me. You know, you want to go right, pull this down and this up. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
we would take runs down a long asphalt driveway because I don't think I ever knew how to steer it other than just leaving it straight until the last minute, and you pull both levers at the same time and you spin.
Yeah,
that's as far as I ever figured out how to really get around on it.
You know, I don't know that I had a Green Machine, but I definitely had big wheels, and I feel like going through a couple big wheels. And now that I'm realizing, as a kid, like they would go through different sort of like you know, there was like a Knight Rider big wheel, and now I'm realizing I think I had a Dukes of Hazzard big wheel.
Okay, Peter, you're not a millennial.
yeah. You're
no
not
way.
even on the cusp, dude. You're not even on the cusp of
You just referenced. Did you reference Knight Rider and Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah, well, I think, and what I'm
and big wheel all in one sentence.
And big wheel.
What's making it so terrible is I feel like the Dukes of the
Blue Max. I remember the Blue Max.
Well, dude, the Dukes of Hazzard one was like a General Lee replica in a big wheel with like a big Confederate flag on it. I think
but you know, the only thing dumber than that was seeing 3 black kids, me and my cousins, acting like we're the Dukes of Hazzard. We would sit, and my aunt used to get so heated. We would sit in the in like my aunt's little kind of living room, and my cousin had this really cool. It was just like a little steering wheel, and you put batteries in it, and it would just make sounds. It was like, "Arr!" So like you got three black kids sitting on the couch going, yeah.
Oh God!
When I was a kid, I used to have to work the Coliseum because I worked football games, and I was selling programs and you know, because my dad, you know, he and it's funny because I talk to football fans now and they're like, that must have been so cool. I'm like, yeah, not really. There's a picture of me at the Coliseum and I'm a kid and I'm wearing a Dukes of Hazzard shirt with the Confederate flag on it. I'm selling programs, and that's in my files somewhere. I'll dig it out, I'll send it. But no, we love that show so much. Mm-hmm. It's like not even funny, and it's hilarious how, you know, it's like, you know, I mean, I hate where we are now, where everything is very, like, the general idea is, well, that's a really irresponsible show, but it's just like, yeah, but what if you're a kid and there's cars and there's jumps and there's all that stuff? You're like,
dude,
okay,
you got this awesome Charger.
Actually,
Wolvo, I didn't catch any ass kickings for that because like the family watched Dukes of Hazzard, but my aunt's just everybody, we all watched it, but my aunt was just like, can you stop singing Dixie? You know, can you do that?
Every kid in my neighborhood loved that show.
Yes.
You know, it's like, we love that show. It was crazy, you know, because it was just crazy time for TV.
Yeah. John, I'm wondering if you had the same type of arguments, because there's 2 main characters. There's 3 kids trying to argue with because I swear I had the same thing.
I was the oldest one, so I was always Bo.
But then I always ended up being like the 3rd kid, and so you'd be like, well,
you're Roscoe P. Coltrane. You know,
or what was it? Was it Cooter?
Boss Hall, you're Cooter. You know,
there were no good
So if you were on the side of the Duke boys, you were Crazy Cooter, because you didn't want to be Uncle Jesse, or else you just had to be Roscoe P. Coltrane, or you had to be Enos.
No. Yeah.
I don't think
it's always funny when you have to argue about that.
Yeah.
I'll be some other cousin. Let me.
Let me be the new cousin.
Wolverine, I agree. I mean, Knight Rider.
Yeah.
That was my show.
The Greatest American Hero. The whole series looks like
Yeah.
it's on YouTube now. You could just watch it on YouTube.
Wow.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Peter. Airwolf.
Airwolf. Yeah.
Just for the theme song, like just the opening of Airwolf was enough to just like get me totally pumped.
Yeah, and that was so funny because there was also Blue Thunder. Was it Blue Thunder?
Yeah.
Which
that was awesome. It was a helicopter.
Yeah, another. I mean, you're like, how is it that it competing helicopter shows in the 80s?
What else was there? There was another show with what was the show with the Screaming Mimi? They had a plane. It was called the Screaming Mimi. I can hear the theme song in my head. Oh my God. Wolvo, you got to help me out. I know you know that show. Do you have that? The Screaming Mimi was the name of the plane. And I can see.
How about Black Sheep or?
Was it Riptide? Was that it? That may have been it. Because I think that may have been it, because it was one of those I think planes that could land in the water.
Oh, was it the one
Yeah, I think he's right. I think Wolf was
Riptide
right.
was that the speedboat?
No, I think that was the Riptide was the plane. Yeah, Riptide, I'm pretty sure was the plane. No, you're right. Nobody wanted to be Enos, man. It's better to be Roscoe P. Coltrane than to be Enos. Be a kid. But now, I'm sorry. I've got to stop because I've got to try and find. I'm pretty sure the show was Riptide. Now I'm committed. I got to try and find it.
Simon and Simon was good.
Seeing if that was.
Yeah, I got to see if it was Riptide. I'm pretty sure that Wolvo's right.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the show. Sorry, guys.
Yep,
good. That was the show. That was the show. Let me see if I can find a good Riptide image.
I gotta say that Ernest Borgnine being on Airwolf, I didn't have any idea. Like the '80s introduction to a bunch of actors, it was very funny because when I met David, who grew up watching all those old westerns and old war movies, I had no idea who these actors were, and to get an introduction, I was probably in my 20s, to who some of these actors were, because Lee Marvin was in a bunch of 80s movies, and by then he was on the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
And, but Ernest Borgnine, you're like, oh, who's this guy? And then David shows me movies like The Wild Bunch and some of those others, and you're like, Ernest Borgnine's awesome.
Right.
But did he was Poseidon Adventure, right?
Poseidon Adventure. Yep.
Yeah.
And so that was always those introductions, and I'm like, who is this guy? Because he's I like Jan Michael Vincent. He's the cool guy, and then you're like, who's this short old guy who's hanging around him? But it was nice to get the education a little later and understand where those guys came from.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, okay, these guys are actually awesome.
My 4-year-old keeps saying.
This is so random. So like I was trying to find the show Riptide, and Wolvo was 100% right. But I ended up, and I didn't have these toys, but they had these Riptide toys, I guess, from back in the day. So there's the Screaming Mimi. This was like the what is it called? Is it a hydroplane? Like the plane that could land on the water. They don't have the boat because Wolvo was right. It was a boat. Then they have these other vehicles, you know. But I would have totally gone for this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I would have totally gone for that. Oh, Volvo, Simon and Simon. Dude, I actually did dig that as a kid. You know?
It was funny because that was a show that, having not seen any episodes, and I think I one night I just happened upon it. It totally threw me that they were trying to pass those two guys off as brothers, because that I think that may be how what stopped me from getting into it, because I was like, those guys aren't brothers, and I just stopped.
Tales of the Gold Monkey. I remember that.
Why do I not remember that?
What's that?
Tales of the Gold Monkey was riding on the Indiana Jones train, and they were trying to do it on TV. They even got, and this is what an illustrator nerd I am, they even got Drew Struzan, who did the Star Wars and the Indiana Jones posters.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, they got him to do the TV guide illustrations for Tales of the Gold Monkey, and they're beautiful illustrations. I don't think the show could possibly live up to those illustrations, you know. But like, you know, which is, I mean, because you get Drew Struzan to illustrate something for you, you're like, why don't the movie look that good? You know,
Yeah, right, exactly.
it worked out for Star Wars and like Raiders of the Lost, you know, the Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah.
Man, Tales of the Gold Monkey.
Yeah, see if you could find some of the illustrations and post those up. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, that's,
right. So first and foremost, just for a reminder about the show, here's a little piece on the show.
No, never seen that.
No, that was in the 80s.
That was 80s, early 80s, Willow.
Yeah, it was the 80s. It was like right after Raiders of the Lost Ark. But type in Drew Struzan, you know, because if you just type in his name and then just Tales of Gold Monkey. And
I don't even know if I know how to spell his name.
It's like Drew, D-R-E-W, and then Stru.
S-T.
Oh, U-Z-A-N?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, yeah, if you post up some of the illustrations he did, beautiful.
Ooh, this is Blade Runner.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Drew Struzan.
All right, he did some stuff here that is fire.
Yeah, it was funny because the first design con I went to, there he was, and I walked by him, you know.
That's hard to see.
Yeah, of course, he does all the Star Wars stuff, but if you check out the stuff he did for Tales of the Gold Monkey, it's like really, really nice, you know.
Let's see. I gotta see if I can find a little bit more Drew Struzan. There's a lot of great stuff here. Let me see if I can. This stuff is gorgeous. What can I?
What did I turn off?
What can I show? What will show?
I have to keep turning the fan off because they're like, you're using too much power. And I'm like, well, it's hot.
You're like, I'm burning up.
Yeah.
Well, it's raining now.
It's raining?
Raining where I'm at.
I have shades to put up tomorrow. It's going to be a nice little Saturday.
Let me see. No, don't let me hold us up. Me trying to find this like something.
Yeah,
what ends up happening is like the art is here, but it's so small.
Yeah.
You know, trying to find. Dang, he even did Adventures in Babysitting. He did that.
Yeah, he did a lot of.
I love that movie.
Drew Struzan was like the movie poster illustrator.
Yeah.
It's a little sad because I saw there's a documentary out that talks about how he eventually quit somewhere, you know, in the late 90s or early 2000s. He just got tired of dealing with clients.
Look at these.
Well, yeah, Big Trouble.
It's not getting really big, but that's Adventures in Babysitting. I love that movie.
Oh yeah.
American Tail. He did that. Come on, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
One of the greatest movies of all time.
Blade Runner. Yeah. Cannonball Run. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, he did Batteries Not Included.
Yeah.
Coming to America. Of course, E.T. The Goonies. You know, I heard they're trying to remake the Goonies. They're gonna blow that. They need to leave that be.
I mean, they don't need to remake the Goonies. You know, they got the Stranger Things. You got all the other stuff. Like, just leave. Let them be alone.
Yeah, looks like he did all the Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Hook. That was a good one.
That was a good one. Hellboy.
He even did Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter film. I mean, and there's a lot of artists who have, you know, made a career of aping his layouts and his style. So
yeah, man, I see these Police Academy ones, and I feel like I'm back, you know, like in the 80s, like renting DVDs or renting, not even DVDs, renting like VHS tapes, you know, to, you know, watch Police Academy or.
I absolutely, as a kid, loved those Police Academy movies. I wouldn't go to see them in the theater, but, you know, with cable being the new venue for all that stuff, I couldn't wait to find out that they were making another, you know, Police Academy, and the fact that they did so many.
Yeah, it's such a shorter period of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just text you, if you see it on your phone, John. I just text you a bunch of the Jade Monkey pictures.
Yeah, if they want to reboot any franchise, like, leave Goonies alone. Police Academy, I'd be okay with a reboot. Like I can see Police Academy. Like, that seems like somewhat of a realistic sort of property where it'd be like, all right, yeah, you know, that could they could redo that. I mean, but Goonies, stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were great until Gutenberg left.
As a kid, I never understood, you know, the intricacies of actors coming and going, because I'd be like, well, you can't just explain away Steve Gutenberg. He is, you know, Police Academy.
Yeah.
Now, as long as you had the guy who could do the sounds, that's all.
I mean, he was good for, you know, maybe, you know, 5-10 minutes. But you needed Gutenberg.
Yeah.
You know.
No, but yeah, there was a lot of. It's funny we've gone off on the shows. We're like, if you get me, I'm really upset because there was a period where my go-to show, if I'm feeling a certain way, and I would have it on the background if I'm drawing, is The White Shadow. I mean, The White Shadow is like,
bro. There's not one black person on the planet that didn't love The White Shadow. The White Shadow was my show.
Dude,
this one.
The White Shadow is about a white basketball player who gets injured, and then he ends up having to become a coach in the inner city, you know, Los Angeles. And like, it's the culture clash for these black students and this white coach. And like, it's like, it is like the greatest show.
It's awesome.
Like, it is so cool because that's the show I would always have on the background when I'm drawing or whatever, and I could just have it on. And it was on Hulu for the longest time, and then they took it off, and I have no idea where to stream it. So I imagine they're probably trying to remake it or something. They probably bought it, and they're like, all right. Well,
I hope they don't remake it. They will butcher it. Oh my goodness! Don't remake it.
You know what's crazy? They kind of did. Ben Affleck did a movie called The Way Back, and he plays a coach. And I watched it, and it's got that. And I'm telling you, man, it's a good movie. It's called The White Shadow. There it goes. Yeah, but he did a movie called The Way Back that was really good about him being a basketball coach, and it's an excellent movie. If you ever get a chance to check it out.
What's it called again?
The Way Back.
The Way Back. Okay.
Yeah, he plays this coach, and he's having his struggles and whatnot, and he has to coach his team to feel better, and it's awesome. I love that movie. Came out a couple years ago, like right before the pandemic. That's one of the reasons that it got buried, because like nobody's going to theater. I ain't going to no theater, you know.
Yeah, man. Oh, The White Shadow. That was a great show. Golly.
We had to make that reference.
Yeah.
You told me about that show after it came off of, or either before I had Hulu or after.
I know you would call me and you'd be like, I know you would call me and you'd be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching The White Shadow."
I have a caveat. Almost every black person Love the
Yeah.
White Shadow. Everybody except for Hexal.
Well, you know, it's one of those things, man. I mean, they actually had an episode after the show's over. I'm gonna send it to Peter. They had an episode with I feel bad because I don't remember his name. He did the voice on. He was the guy that did the voices, the sound effects in the Police Academy episode. And
I feel terrible. I'm blanking on his name too. Like that's.
And I know his name is on the tip of my tongue, but he did an episode. He did he was on the episode. Huh?
Michael something, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
He did an episode of The White Shadow, and like he's doing the sound effects.
Booyah.
Michael Winslow, yeah.
Michael Winslow, thank you.
Sorry, Michael Winslow.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That's embarrassing.
We're on the
Really
first.
hope he's not watching tonight.
That's pretty good.
No props for us.
Yeah, we suck.
Man.
Yeah, so we went from conventions to TV shows.
Yeah.
Not just TV shows, but awesome shows from back in the day.
Yeah, there was a Celeste sighting and may have been a Quentin sighting.
I missed the Quentin sighting.
Yeah, he's small.
The
He's
Green Machine got me on the big wheel, which got me thinking of the Dukes of Hazzard, and it just went down.
Yeah, and like, I don't think you can sit here and question your status as a Gen Xer, man.
There's nothing Gen X about you.
No, so like it's a like I said, 1981. So I've heard it referred to as this like Oregon Trail generation, where I had a very analog childhood, but a like digital adulthood. Like I still did my papers on a typewriter when I was in like middle school, but then in high school we got on a computer. So Oregon Trail was the big game that we would play.
Okay, Gen X is 1965 to 1980. You get right in.
See, well, 1981. Like I say, but if you go other places, like 1980, whatever.
Yeah, I guess you're on the cusp. Yeah,
it's a thing.
I guess.
So one of the coolest toys I had, and I got, I think it was for one of the Christmases. I got the Dukes of Hazzard RC track. Remember the RC ones with you'd have like the little gun.
Yeah,
so there was like
car, but yeah.
There was a General Lee, and then there was a sheriff's car, Roscoe P. Coltrane's, and his little the light, it would light up. You know, it wouldn't make any noise, no siren, and then they had a ramp on there, so you got to jump the car, and you're literally just making a figure eight, and making the same jump. I would do that for hours, and every time I'm going.
I remember wanting that so bad and not getting it. I'm happy to hear you got it.
Yeah. I had two really cool RC tracks. I had that one and I had the Knight Rider one. And Kit, the red part lit up.
Kit they had a Kit replica at the show over the weekend.
Hey, Frog G. They had a Kit replica?
Yeah, at the show, outside the show. It's pretty cool.
Nice. No, so those were my favorite of those kind of RC, RC races. They weren't all compatible, but I could put Kit and the General Lee on the same track.
The ultimate crossover.
That is the ultimate crossover. That's good stuff, man. I think we've had a really fun show.
Yeah.
We really appreciate everybody supporting us. Thanks for hopping in, Wolvo and Hex and Frog, my man Frog G, and thank you very much, Hex and Wolvo, because you helped us, and Wolverine actually saved the day with Michael Winslow. Because the old Gen X brains couldn't remember all that, and you are Gen X, Peter. You are Gen X.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll take it. I mean,
Wolvo says that you may be the token young guy, but I'm saying you're Gen X.
Yeah.
Cool. As long as I get to still be the young guy somewhere, because it's not everywhere that I go that I get to.
Not anymore.
Let me tell you, man. Anytime I'm around, you're the young guy.
All right.
Just hang around me, man. Just hang around me.
Dig it.
Well, hey, we appreciate everybody joining us. We had a great time. And until next time, hey, watch The White Shadow.
Yeah, if you can find it anywhere. Yeah.
You can find it. Especially you, Hex. Watch The White Shadow.
Yeah, give it a shot. Yeah, so yeah, and it was nice catching up with you guys and talking about the show. And this is the first time I didn't have the shirt on at the beginning because I'd forgotten, but I wanted to make sure I had it on for the show.
Yeah, you got that heavy metal shirt at the show.
Yeah, at the heavy metal table. Yeah, at the heavy metal table, and I bought it from the guy who said he designed it. So I got that going for me, which is nice. Yeah,
that's wrong, Wolf. I'm old school. There should be no participation awards from Gen Xers, right? It's like you get no participation award. You don't get a reward for just showing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Peace out, everybody. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
And till next week.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.